Hello, and welcome to the Pop-Off PC Mag's video game show. I'm Jordan Miner, Matt Buzzy.
Hello.
Zach Cuevas.
Hey.
It's a great day in New York.
It's a great day in New York.
A myriad of reasons.
Yes.
But it's a great day today because we are here to talk about live service shooters, famous dying genre.
Your favorite kind of game.
For all those who touch grass, who don't know our dumb gamer jargon, how would you describe a live service shooter?
What a loaded question.
Yeah.
These games that usually have a heavy multiplayer component, usually competitive multiplayer, sometimes a mix of player versus computer, PvE or PvP, that are persistently updated with new content, usually for free after the point of purchase or for paid content drops. And these are supposed to last years and have you play them for years. And ideally, if the developer has their way, spend your money continually as the game goes on microtransactions or expansions or whatever.
Keyword supposed to. If it hits, it lasts for years and years. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it
has
shuts
proven
down
difficult
in like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Zach, you reviewed Concord.
Unfortunate. Yeah, Concord for the PlayStation 5, Sony's big live service shooter. It is his first party, not to be confused with Helldivers, which is a live service shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But Concord came and went like the breeze.
It just really did.
And you kind of liked it. You gave it like a 3.5.
So I gave it a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I had problems, but a lot of games have problems at launch, and it wasn't the greatest shooter in the world, but it wasn't bad.
It wasn't as bad to deserve maybe the level of vitriol the game itself has gotten.
I'm looking at this camera.
We can discuss the price, and we can discuss.
You didn't even play it.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a great game by any stretch.
Lizard Man.
There are plenty of games that are equally good that have either died or never got this level of notoriety.
Sure. We do not live in a meritocracy, famously.
Right. I want to say that the
I
gotta get in there because
I gotta defend that lizard man.
Before we get away from this, that lizard man was scary.
He wasn't scary. He just like a jerk.
I think that there were issues with the game, but Concord did not deserve a modicum of the hate it got on.
Yes,
the
internet. I think
that has been so stretched out and
as if it's the worst game ever, when really it was the out of the game stuff that doomed the game, which is the price, the marketing, the overcrowded genre.
That's what I'm trying to say. Just discussion around that game is so toxic. Everything's a bad faith argument when it comes to Concord. When there were real issues, the pricing, some of the character designs. I think the choice of going all in on visual fidelity instead of a cohesive art direction was a killer for a lot of people. You talk about the Lizard Man, some of those character designs were really kind of But I was gonna say there were animations that they released ahead of time that looked great.
Surprising the game in this art style.
Exactly. And that was sort of you know why? It's probably something to do. Some higher up was like, well, PlayStation, we're all about visual fidelity here. Let's make Concord sit well beside Uncharted and Last of Us and Horizon.
Which you can see in the game because there's also this narrative stuff woven in, and they try to get some lore going. So I get the idea, but I think it's just DOA with the price and the lack of just general interest.
You mentioned overcrowded genre, which is kind of what we want to talk about.
Right.
The larger topic here of we've been seeing these these live service games, they're like MMOs, where they can hit so huge.
Right.
But I feel like now,
and of course that's what the suits want. The suits want them to hit.
But it's really bearing out that they're not.
XYZ game has gotten so much money over XY year. We can just make one of those.
I mean, XYZ game like Destiny
was the one.
Really kind of kicked this off like a decade ago. But now
is famously struggling.
Say some more on what's going on with Bungie.
Bungie has undergone a number of layoffs. They were purchased by Sony by probably too much money over valuation that everyone kind of raised an eyebrow at the time, and now
3.6 million.
Now it's been like, this game actually isn't making money, and it's having trouble retaining the players, and it's kind of just slowly going downhill. And they paid all this money for it. They laid off employees. They took some into Sony itself to work on a side project that Bungie had going on. So even that, the golden goose of live service games.
From the Halo people.
They have all the cachet. And to be fair, I don't know how long any live service game is supposed to go on, right? Like this
Right.
Destiny 1 years, Destiny 2 years. Like these games have been out. It already arguably did its thing.
And even
they
if
wrapped
Destiny-
up the story.
Destiny
like,
2 has been on since 2017.
yeah,
right?
it's like it's
But
it's been around for a
but
minute.
like they have to change their whole kind of development structure to just be about supporting this one game, not like
Right.
not like getting people onto like, all right, here's Destiny 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Fatigue on the customer of like, I just bought a $30 expansion. Am I going to do that again? Especially now they wrapped up the narrative. Like, where do they even go? They're saying they're not doing Destiny 3 in the
It's
near
like a
future.
mobile game, I think.
Yeah, like
rumored.
side project. Yeah, so it's just one
And
of those.
where the hell is Marathon?
Right.
And we're apparently too far ahead in development to not cost $40, which is famously what Concord was priced at, which got no one want to buy because a lot of the competition is free. Like Apex, Counter-Strike, like all these shooters that you can get online and play, free. Fortnite, free. Getting $40 to get in the door for a game that wasn't convincing anybody in the first place. And now, especially with Marathon, an extraction shooter, a genre that's kind of come and gone already by the time they get this game developed. Tarkov is really the prime example of that genre. And like that will always have its fans, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many people are running out with a Bungie twist for an extraction shooter. That's all we've heard about it, really.
They're not really able to be like nimble anymore.
Right. And do we trust a Bungie twist? I mean, we've heard there have been so many stories that have come for industries that just, trust the Bungie magic or trust the Blizzard magic, that a game can come together in the final hour just because
the shooting might feel good. That's really all I take that to mean, right? Like,
and I mean
that's what Bungie does.
So speaking of that, Concord Firewalk is a studio that was comprised mostly of Bungie, ex-Bungie employees.
The game felt all right to play.
And people said, they were like, let's trust the Bungie. They know. They worked on Bungie. They worked on Halo. They worked on Destiny. They can pull this together in the final hour to make something. And we know that's not always the case all the time. That's not enough.
You mentioned Overwatch. Overwatch 2, another also sort of floundering game at the moment.
Yeah, recovering a little bit, but
but one that's still continuing to inspire so many imitators.
Yeah.
There was that Star Wars Hunters game that came out this year that I didn't like. No review on that. But, these shooters are still going to come out. And one that's upcoming that you two have played, I think have enjoyed, has been Marvel Rivals. It's very much an Overwatch kind of game.
Which is really interesting because, I feel like I enjoyed Overwatch when it came out, but in recent years it's kind of like I've moved on from this type of game, and I think a lot of people. Well, okay, again, let's time out.
It's a much sexier character.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. No, but seriously, I feel like people are ready to move on from the hero shooter, or at least drop some sort of compelling twist to it. And I haven't a lot of hero shooters that have come out in Star Wars Hunter and stuff like that. I feel like they're still too close to Overwatch. Overwatch has just been uncontested. And that's why Marvel Rivals is so interesting, because Marvel Rivals, if we compare it to Concord, Marvel Rivals is straight up a Overwatch ripoff.
It is, yeah.
And when compared to Concord, it's like, but
because when we all heard about it, we're like, oh, they're doing Marvel Overwatch.
Yeah.
Then we played the beta, and it's like,
and it's great.
Well,
it's actually,
this formula does work.
We
don't like that first Overwatch for a reason.
For a
but
long
they
time,
changed
right?
They
so
like Team
much.
Fortress.
I felt like there were so many changes in Marvel Rivals that Overwatch 2, we were promised when Overwatch 2 was coming out, and for whatever reasons, they walked it back, or they delayed it, or they straight up canceled it. So that's why Marvel Rivals was so exciting, because not only was it like, oh wait, this formula is good, but it's got a reminder that this hero shooter genre
and having such a monster IP is like,
the
it's
monster
just
IP
like people are going to
helps,
give it a try. And I also think it empowers more abilities and character types than Overwatch, which
which is the appeal of games to me.
They
to
do
bring
different
interesting
things,
abilities to the game, like a fighting game.
Right. A lot of them are shooter characters at their core who will use their gun. That's not always like a traditional gun, but in Marvel Rivals, that's like, you got Jeff swimming under. You got all sorts of things going. You got people flying,
shooting.
You have so many more
and combinations weigh in and stuff like that. So there's that depth. There is that depth there for competitive players and stuff like that. I really want to get
not to say that half of the characters aren't still like, oh, they combine this Overwatch character with this Overwatch.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like it 100% is.
Totally.
But yeah.
So live service shooters, we don't know. But one genre that refuses to die, despite my wishes, is MOBAs.
Yes.
But recently, Valve has put out a video game. Remember that?
Put out.
Remember Valve making video games? Deadlock.
Yeah. Which
combines kind of MOBA and these sort of shooter ideas. And Buzzy, you've been enjoying a lot of that too.
I, much to my own surprise, love Deadlock.
Yeah.
I'm a big strategy gaming fan. I'm a big competitive shooter gaming fan. For some reason, MOBAs just never Never the two shall meet. I don't know why.
You have taste.
That must be it.
Yeah.
I've watched them. I know them well enough. I get the idea, but I never really got into a MOBA. I gave Deadlock a try when it's like you said, it's like out. It's in like an alpha.
I wouldn't even call it
It's
alpha.
Oh, they're
it's
coming after us.
Its launch was whole like a secret, and then it got dragged into the public.
Secret,
and then, so now you can just play it. You can invite your friends. It's
Well, you have to get it. You have to get it through an invite.
You have to get, and then once your friend you can invite other. So it's available, and the servers are now on like all day because first it was like limited.
Yeah.
Now they're on 24/7. So it's definitely still way in development. But it turns out to make a MOBA interesting to me, if you combine it with the shooter, now we're talking. And you definitely, it's not an Overwatch clone because it's more like Apex, Overwatch, where these characters definitely have abilities, but you are 100%, make no mistake, you're playing a MOBA. You're just doing it in third person.
Yeah, you got lanes,
towers. They essentially changed the camera, from this top view
like Smite.
or isometric.
Smite did similar stuff, and I enjoyed it more because of that.
Yeah, and it's more
it has like creeps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, tower, like the guardians or the towers, the walkers, the base. Like,
jungling.
Yep, you kill your creep, you got to jungle things I didn't know about. And I'm like, oh, that's what they meant by jungling. Okay. So now I have like 80 hours in Deadlock to my own surprise, and I really like it.
Yeah, you're
it's still barely out, and I'm like, this game presumably will be so much better. It turns out Valve knows what they're doing when they make games.
They still do, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, good. I think to their credit that they didn't make it like Dota the shooter or something.
Or like skin it the same and use all the characters. Yeah. And I think the like lead developer or like design philosophy guys behind both of the games, Ice Frog is like the guy behind the scenes. It's apparently the same philosophy, and you can see where that totally carries through. But yeah, they went from this. It was called like Neo Prime, I think, originally in development. It was like a cyberpunk samurai Japanese infused game, and they were like, actually, we're gonna do noir New York City instead. It's like very different. Right? Yeah. It's like supernatural noir NYC.
Okay.
Very different.
So that's promising. So certain live service shooters, they may have had their moment in the sun. It's good for genres to mix up and change, and for not one thing to dominate the industry forever.
I think back to the hero shooter stuff. I really do think when shooters like Deadlock. Even though Deadlock's more of a MOBA, but like Marvel Rivals, it's interesting to see what they will do in response to that. Because I feel like Overwatch has been resting on its laurels for many years. I think when Marvel Rival comes out and it snatches up that fan base, I think Blizzard might snap into action.
Well, they had like the whole moment because no one was really doing much in the space with Overwatch 2 to launch. And they like flubbed it by kind of just like relaunching one. The whole thing was handled strangely.
Well, we'll see. We'll keep following trends and writing about the games and
play Fortnite.
See if someone can figure out how to make money off of these live service free games. Other than Fortnite.
Yeah, but in the meantime, thanks for sharing your intelligent insights on the
likewise,
industry.
all of you. Yeah,
and we'll talk to you next time.